Love had once been my sanctuary, a warm embrace shielding me from life's uncertainties. Sophie, my wife, had been my everything, my heart, my home, my safe place. We built a life together, intertwined in promises of forever, yet forever was nothing more than a fleeting illusion. Our story began in college, where youthful passion ignited a fire so intense that I believed nothing could extinguish it. She was breathtaking, with emerald eyes that held secrets and lips that spoke of dreams we would one day share. When I proposed beneath a golden sunset, she whispered, "Always." But always became a lie. Life wasn't perfect, but I believed in us. While I worked tirelessly to secure our future, Sophie grew restless. Her desires outpaced our modest reality, craving more than I could provide. She wanted luxury, excitement, the thrill of something new. I, blinded by devotion, never saw the storm brewing. Late nights at work turned into lonely evenings for me. She stopped waiting for me at the dinner table, stopped reaching for my hand during our evening walk. Her laughter, once so effortless, became scarce, replaced by distant sighs and forced smiles. Then, there were the signs. A perfume I didn't recognize lingering on her skin. Calls she took in whispered tones. Sudden shopping sprees despite our tight budget. The growing absence in our bed. But I ignored them, convincing myself that love alone could mend whatever had started to crack. Fate, however, had other plans. One evening, while finishing an exhausting shift, my phone buzzed. A message. At first, I thought it was from her, a sweet text to lift my spirits. But when I read it, my blood turned cold. "Last night was amazing. Can't wait to see you again. Red heart. Sent by mistake. Not meant for me." My hands trembled, my breath shallowed, my world blurred. Disbelief clawed at me, demanding I search for another explanation. But deep down, I knew. Sophie was cheating. A confrontation was inevitable. She walked through the door hours later, draped in arrogance, smelling like expensive cologne that didn't belong to me. I held up my phone, voice steady but heart racing. "Who is he?" Her expression didn't waver. No guilt, no remorse, just cold indifference. "Ethan," she sighed, setting down her designer purse, "I think we should talk." Rage simmered beneath my skin. "Talk?" I echoed. "About how you've been sleeping with someone else?" She didn't deny it. That hurt more than the betrayal itself. "I deserve better," she said, arms crossed, eyes sharp. "Charles gives me things you never could." His name tasted like poison. Charles Davenport, her boss. A wealthy businessman with a silver tongue and pockets deeper than my entire existence. I clenched my fist. "So that's it? You're leaving me for him?" She tilted her head, studying me like I was some unfortunate stray she had outgrown. "I've already left you, Ethan. I just haven't packed my bags yet." The weight of her words crushed me. Years of love, devotion, and sacrifice meant nothing. I wanted to scream, to break something, to demand an explanation that would make it all hurt less. But explanations wouldn't change the truth. "Goodbye," she said, turning her back to me. Just like that. No tears. No hesitation. No looking back. The door slammed shut, sealing my fate. I stood alone in our empty home, silence pressing against me like an unbearable weight. Memories clung to the walls, reminders of what once was, now reduced to nothing. Days passed, each one bleeding into the next. Grief swallowed me whole. Everywhere I looked, I saw her. Her favorite coffee mug abandoned on the counter, her perfume still lingering on our bed, the closet half empty where her clothes used to be. Then, just when I thought I had suffered enough, another blow landed. Scrolling through social media, I saw her. Laughing. Radiant. Wrapped in Charles's arms. A diamond bracelet on her wrist. Designer clothes replacing the simple elegance she once adored. But it wasn't the luxury that destroyed me. It was the caption beneath the photo. "New beginnings with the love of my life. Can't wait for our little blessing. Red heart. Pregnant. With his child. A family. The very thing we once dreamed of, stolen from me, given to another man." I gripped my phone so tightly my knuckles turned white. My vision blurred, my breath hitched. Pain no longer felt like pain. It became something sharper, something darker. I had lost everything. Or so I thought. Because fate, cruel yet poetic, wasn't finished with me yet. Time passed, yet the wound remained, a dull ache beneath the surface of my existence. Sophie had moved on, basking in the glow of her new life, while I drowned in the wreckage she left behind. Nights became endless, sleep elusive, thoughts of her betrayal consuming me. But grief didn't break me, it forged me. I buried myself in work, pouring every ounce of my pain into ambition. If love had failed me, success wouldn't. Determined to build something greater than what Sophie had abandoned, I took risks, made investments, and climbed the corporate ladder with ruthless precision. Then, fate intervened. A phone call from an unknown number disrupted my monotonous afternoon. I hesitated before answering, expecting another meaningless conversation, but the voice on the other end shattered my expectations. "Mr. Carter," the man said, professional and composed. "I'm calling on behalf of Arthur Whitmore's estate. I regret to inform you of his passing." Arthur Whitmore. A distant great-uncle. A name I barely remembered. I sat straighter, confusion gnawing at me. "I'm sorry to hear that, but why are you calling me?" There was a pause, then. "He left everything to you." Silence. My mind struggled to process the words. "Everything?" "Yes, sir. His estate, business holdings, assets, valued at approximately $92 million. The air vanished from my lungs. $92 million. My world shifted in an instant. From a man struggling to move past heartbreak, I became the sole heir to a fortune beyond my wildest imagination. The next few weeks blurred into meetings with lawyers, financial advisors, and estate managers. I stepped into a world of wealth, power, and influence. Properties, luxury cars, stocks, everything was mine. And soon, everyone knew it. Wealth came with visibility, and visibility meant whispers traveled fast. Sophie heard. I didn't need to reach out. I didn't need to announce it. She found out the way vultures always sense fresh prey. One evening, as I sipped whiskey in my penthouse, a stark contrast to the modest apartment I once shared with her, my phone buzzed. A number I never thought I'd see again flashed on the screen. "Sophie." A smirk played at my lips. "Took you long enough." Curiosity overpowered reason, and I answered. A moment of silence. Then, her voice, laced with forced sweetness. "Ethan, I've been thinking about you." I leaned back, swirling my drink. "Is that so? I heard about everything. Your inheritance, your success. I don't know why, but I felt like I needed to reach out." Lies. Thinly veiled, predictably desperate. Still, I played along. "How's Charles?" A pause. A sharp inhale. He left." Her voice cracked, the facade beginning to crumble. "He wasn't the man I thought he was. When the baby came, everything changed. He stopped caring. Stopped trying. One day, he just walked away." I remained silent, letting her unravel. "I made a mistake, Ethan." Quiet sob. "I thought I wanted luxury, but I had everything I needed with you. I miss you. Had I been the man I was years ago, maybe I would have believed her. Maybe I would have clung to those words like a lifeline. But I wasn't that man anymore. Still, a part of me wanted to see just how far she would go. How desperate she had become. So, I fed her hope. "Let's have dinner." A sharp breath. "Really?" A slow smirk curled on my lip. "Really? Game on." Sophie arrived at the restaurant wearing desperation disguised as elegance. A deep red dress clung to her body, her makeup carefully applied to enhance the beauty that once held me captive. She smiled as if the past could be erased with a well-timed glance, but I saw the truth beneath the surface. She was drowning, and I was her last chance at air. I had chosen Celeste, an upscale restaurant where reservations were nearly impossible to secure. It was the kind of place she had always dreamed of but never experienced with me. Back then, I couldn't afford luxury. Now it was effortless. She approached our table, hesitating before sliding into the seat across from me. "Ethan," she breathed, her voice carrying a mix of nostalgia and longing. I sipped my wine, watching her with amused detachment. "Sophie." A flicker of nervousness crossed her face before she settled into an artificial confidence. "You look incredible. Success suits you." I smirked. "It does." A waiter arrived, and she wasted no time ordering the most expensive entree and a bottle of wine that cost more than what we used to spend on groceries for a month. I let her indulge, let her pretend we were slipping back into something familiar. She leaned in, her perfume familiar yet distant. "Ethan, I've missed you." I raised a brow. "Have you?" She reached across the table, fingers grazing mine. "More than I can say. I made a mistake. I got caught up in things that didn't matter, and I lost sight of what was real. You. Us." I tilted my head, pretending to consider her words. "And Charles? The love of your life." Her lips pressed together. "He wasn't what I thought he was. He left me, left our son." She exhaled shakily, eyes glistening with forced vulnerability. "I've struggled, Ethan. I thought money would make me happy, but I was wrong. What we had was real, and I threw it away. I regret it every single day." Her performance was impressive. If I didn't know better, I might have believed her. I leaned back, swirling my glass. "So, let me get this straight. You cheated, left me, had a child with another man, got abandoned, and now that I'm worth millions, you're suddenly realizing your mistake." A flicker of panic flashed across her face before she masked it with a sad smile. "It's not about money, Ethan. It's about you. I never stopped loving you." I let the silence stretch, enjoying the way she squirmed beneath my unreadable gaze. Then I smiled. "You're in luck, Sophie." Her eyes lit up. "I am." I nodded. "Because I've been thinking about you too." Her breath hitched, hope radiating from her. "Really?" I reached into my pocket, pulling out an envelope, and slid it across the table. "Really?" She hesitated before picking it up, fingers trembling slightly as she opened it. As her eyes scanned the contents, her expression shifted from hope to horror. Inside was a check for $10. Her head snapped up. What is this?" I smirked. "That's what you're worth to me now." Her face paled. "Ethan, this isn't funny." "Oh, I'm not joking," I said, my voice calm but sharp. "You see, Sophie, I don't do second chances. You made your choice years ago, and now, you get to live with it." Tears welled in her eyes, but I felt nothing. No sympathy. No sadness. Just satisfaction. She reached for my hand desperately. "Ethan, please." I stood, tossing a few $100 bills on the table for the meal. "Consider that check a lesson. You don't get to walk away from me, betray me, and come back when it's convenient." Her lips trembled, but I had nothing left to say. I walked out of the restaurant, leaving her behind, exactly where she deserved to be. The cool night air greeted me as I stepped out of Celeste, the city lights reflecting in the glass towers above. I took a deep breath, feeling an unfamiliar lightness settle over me. Relief. Closure. Victory. 4 years I had lived with the weight of Sophie's betrayal, but tonight I had shattered the last chain binding me to her. Yet, as I strode toward my car, I heard hurried footsteps behind me. "Ethan, wait!" I didn't stop. "Please," Sophie pleaded, her voice raw with desperation. "I just need you to listen." With a sigh, I turned, my patience thinning. "What more is there to say, Sophie?" She stood beneath the glow of the street lamp, mascara streaking down her cheeks, red dress wrinkled from frantic movements. The confident, seductive woman from earlier was gone, all that remained was regret. "I don't need your money," she whispered. I just need you." I arched a brow. "Funny. You didn't need me when you were sleeping with your boss." Her lower lip quivered, but I didn't stop. "You didn't need me when you packed your bags and left without a word." She shook her head, tears slipping down her face. Ethan, I was stupid. I was selfish. I thought I was trading up, but you got played. I finished for her, my voice void of sympathy. And now you're alone. And broke. She flinched, swallowing thickly. I don't care about money. I let out a humorless laugh. That's the funniest thing you've ever said. Silence stretched between us, thick with unsaid words. Then, she tried one last card. Our son needs a father. I stiffened. Sophie's eyes widened slightly at my reaction, latching onto it like a lifeline. He's only 3, Ethan. He doesn't understand why Charles left. But you could be there for him. For us. I exhaled slowly, forcing the emotions away. Let me make something clear, Sophie. I took a step closer, my voice calm but sharp as steel. I owe you nothing. And I owe that child even less. Her breath hitched, hope crumbling into devastation. Goodbye, Sophie, I said softly, my final words to the woman I had once loved. I wish you luck. You're going to need it. And with that, I walked away. I didn't look back. Not when she collapsed onto the pavement, sobbing into her hands. Not when her voice cracked into the night, whispering my name like a final prayer. I got into my car, gripping the wheel, a slow smile spreading across my lip. Sophie had spent years chasing a dream of wealth, power, and status. And now? She had nothing. Meanwhile, I had everything. And for the first time in years, I was finally free.